tab that's open there. So if you hover over your mouse, you'll find the little conversations, show conversation, and you can click in on that and enter in your questions or your comments. There'll also be some opportunities as well where people can you can use the raise your hand symbol there as well to ask a question. So before Daniel comes on, just to remind you that if you have any issues here and you need some tech support during this presentation, that you can contact NCBI Labs, and Daniel will put up that number again there for people 1850 33 43 53 during the little interval part as well. Without further ado, really, I'm just going to hand it over to you, Daniel, and let you get started here with this session.
Thanks very much, Caroline. So today we are going to be taking a look at ebooks, and we've broken this into two parts. First of all, we're going to take a look at ebooks in education, and then we are going to take a few questions and answers on that, and follow up then with another presentation on accessing ebooks for leisure reading, and following that we'll take questions and answers there too. So don't forget, you can use the panel at the side of Teams to raise your hand, or you can type in a question there. Alternatively, you can email mary.byrne@ncbi.ie, and Mary is looking after the incoming emails there and will forward the questions to us to be answered on your behalf. So first of all, I'm going to just queue up a little presentation here. Just bear with me a moment and we'll get going with that.
Hello, and thank you for joining me, Daniel Dunne, with the NCBI Children and Young Persons AT team. Today we are going to take a look at ebooks. So this is part one of a two-part video series, and the topics we are going to cover in this part one is what are ebooks, and some of the popular devices that are used to read ebooks. Our focus then will turn to using ebooks in education and some of the different types of educational ebooks that are out there. Also, some of the different apps that are used to open educational ebooks. In part two, we will take a look at leisure reading and some of the library services that are available. So what are ebooks? And ebooks are files that can be opened on a computerized device, and they come in two main formats: digital text or digital audio. Digital audio ebooks are also known as e-audiobooks, and these are created where somebody has sat down and read a physical book from cover to cover and recorded themselves doing so. In the early days, the Kindle and the Kobo e-readers came to the fore as a dedicated device for reading ebooks. However, in modern times, as smartphones and tablets and laptops have got more powerful, special apps have been created that allow you to take your books on the go as well. And the benefits of ebooks? Well, from somebody who has a visual impairment, it's of great benefit that ebooks are customizable. The text on the screen can be made bigger, the color of the background or the paper can be changed, as well as the color of the text. In addition, you can place bookmarks and put in side notes for later reviewing. Also, the fact that they're very portable depending on the device you have. And with storage spaces in these devices getting larger, means you can carry more and more books on the go. And from a cost point of view, ebooks are very low cost, especially in comparison to the paperback counterparts. And in education, there are many options for free ebooks. And for leisure reading, there's subscription services available, which we will discuss later. When it comes to different devices to use to read ebooks, there are many options. The traditional laptop and PC, your smartphones and tablets, your Braille note takers, and as mentioned earlier, the Kindle and Kobo e-readers, which were the first on the scene. There are many different apps out there, and we are going to take a look at some of those later. Ebooks are a very versatile solution for somebody with a visual impairment in education. There are many different types and apps out there, and depending on the level of your vision, some apps are more suited than others, and some types of ebooks are more suitable than others. We will explore those shortly. If you're interested in getting ebooks for use in school. It is advised to contact your school to obtain a book list for the forthcoming year, and they will in turn get in touch with the visiting teacher service to have those processed and ready for the next school year. There's different file types that can be put together, from the easy books to Epub, and also plain text, especially for the Braille users. In addition, there are publisher apps directly from the Irish Education Books publishers. You may have noticed that if you purchase a school book in an education supply store, there is often a code inside that entitles the purchaser to download a free ebook. And we will also take a look at those and the pros and cons about each type. I'm going to take a look now at some of the options available for laptop or PC. And earlier I downloaded a sample DAISY book called Active Science for the Junior Cycle. I'm going to open that now by double clicking on the folder. And inside there is an icon with a dark blue outline and an orange center. I'll double click on that to open my ebook. So this is the DAISY format, and it has the digital text on screen, a menu down the side listing the different page numbers which correspond to the printed book page numbers, and at the top we have got a play button which allows me to listen back to the book. So I'll give you a sample of that right now.
Active Science JC, Volume 1 of 6, pages 1 to 88 of 549.
So, as you note there, the audio feedback is a computer-generated voice. So, this is typical of DAISY books where they have been typed up and a computer-simulated voice reads them back. So, inside this DAISY book, I get the options to increase the size of the text on the screen. I can also use the Control and Plus keyboard shortcuts to bring the text up. And I'll just quickly go through those to show you how much we can bring them up to. So we're at 500% there. Keep tapping on the plus button with the control button held down. Allow me to get up to 999%. And again, to reduce the text size, I can go Control and minus, or simply click on minus using the mouse at the top bar, and that will reduce the size of the text. Going from page to page, quite simple. We have the headings and the chapters all listed down the left hand side, and we can go to page 58. Alternatively, we can type in at the top, find a word, and if we type P72 and hit the enter, it'll bring us straight to page 72. And that is typical of ebooks, that you type in P72 and it'll bring you to the page. So we'll just scroll down a little bit. We can see that this ebook contains images as well as the text. However, it's not the same layout as the physical book. And I'm going to highlight this line here and to show you then that we can change the color of the highlight, which is currently in yellow. And for this demonstration, we'll pick a solid blue, and we can change the color of the text to white. So this changes the highlight on screen for you. In addition, you can change the background to a dark color and the text to a light color by holding down the Alt, Left Shift, and the print screen keys together. And this little high contrast box pops up, and you can answer yes to that. And it changes the color of the background and makes the text white, which may be easier for you to use. That's a little look at the DAISY book format, which is quite popular in education in Ireland. After taking a look at the the DAISY books and the text files on the laptop and PC, we now turn our focus to the educational publishers apps. So as mentioned earlier, when you go into an education supply store and you pick up your physical book, often inside there is a special offer with a code that allows you to download a free ebook version. And for that then you get onto your tablet or your smart device and go to the App Store and download the relevant app. In this example we have 4 apps to show you: Gill Explore from the Gill and McMahon publishers, Educate.ie, Egco Learning, and Folan's eBooks. So first of all I'm going to open the Gill Explore app, and we have downloaded some books here that we are going to take a look at. So first of all I'm going to open the Making History textbook. And when you open the book, you get brought to the last page you were on. In this case, I was up around page 174, and the book is laid out exactly like its printed counterpart. By default, the app will show you the 2 pages of the book side by side. However, using the toolbar at the bottom, the second option in, we can make it a single page view. The page is reconstructed then on your screen as single page mode. Using the gesture then to zoom on the tablet, we can try and bring up the size of the text. However, the zoom that is built into these books is quite limited and may not bring the size of the text up to what you need to be able to read it. And to try and counteract that, we can use the iPad's internal zoom, and that gesture is 3 taps with 3 fingers on the screen. That will bring up this controller which allows us to zoom in and out. So as we do that, you notice that the quality of text has deteriorated slightly. We will zoom back out now, and we will go through some more of the features that are on this ebook. So across the bottom we have options to animate on screen, and we can highlight some text. So just highlighting in the bottom right, you can change the colour of the highlight to suit your needs. Might be a good idea to have a stylus pen for this purpose. And when you're happy with what you've highlighted, you can save that. Also, you can create notes. So the second option in from the bottom right, we can add a note on screen. So for later revision at homework, we can make little notes, and it pops this little icon on the screen which you can just tap on for reminders. Also, you can access the different pages of the book rather quickly. So if you're in class, the teacher says to you, go to page 264, you can tap on that and it will bring up page 264 very quickly. You can also put a star on the page, which is like making a bookmark, or you can choose from the table of contents which relevant chapters are highlighted here, and tap on that and it will bring you to the relevant page quickly. So the apps, while they are quite good, they may be limited for somebody who has a visual impairment in the sense that the zoom is not very good on that app. So we'll exit that book now and we will take a look at the next one from Educate.ie. So it's quite a similar app to the last one we had looked at, and across the bottom I'm going to go straight for my eBooks, and we are going to go for the geography in action. And last time we were here, we were on page 4, so we just scroll through. Again, it's displayed by default 2 pages side by side. We have our familiar control in the bottom left to return that to a single page view. Again, we use the zoom in feature. That is as much as the app will allow us to zoom in. So we'll triple tap on the screen again, and we'll have a look at how the text is handled when we use the iPad's native zoom. So as you can see, text is not too bad, but it gets a little bit blurry. So we'll zoom back out. Again, we do have our graphics and everything just like our printed book. You have the star option at the bottom then to bookmark the page. Again, very similar layout to Gilliam McMahon's, where you can scroll through and go to the different page that you want. You also have the options to highlight. And you can rub those out if you make a mistake. You can change the color of your highlight and the size of the highlight. Or you can make it a firm note on the page if you want. You can write on the screen as well, and when you're happy, you can save that. So if you wanted to highlight something for revision later. So again, very similar functions and features to the Gill and McMahon app. Next one we're going to take a look at is the Echo Learning. So again, we open the app, we are brought to our bookshelf containing the titles we have downloaded, and we're going to take a look next at the Connect with Maths, and we'll go for the ratio and proportion chapter. So the layout of this app now is a little bit different than we've had in the last two. Again, we can drag the page up and down, and we can try and zoom in. So it's a little bit more of a zoom than we got from the last two apps, but I do notice that the text is not as clear as it could be. So again, we'll take advantage of the iPad's native zoom, and the page here does not respond well to that at all. We'll just zoom back out. So we'll try that again. Yeah, the text gets quite blurry when we zoom in using the iPad's native zoom. So we'll zoom back out one more time. But the features then, we do have the draw feature, which you can draw a line on it, or you can highlight text. Again, if you long press on those, you can change the color of the highlighter. If you're happy, then you can highlight text in different color. Likewise with the draw, you can change the thickness and the colors, and you can delete drawings if you make a mistake. Also, you have the note, and this is a great book. Save that. That's our note again for later, so I can just tap on that, handy for revision. Bookmarks, if you want, you can bookmark the page. So I'll type in for study, save that. So the page is bookmarked, so if you want to go back and look at those later. Again, you got your chapters, which you can go to, or using the page numbers at the bottom. Flick pages just like that. So the app is quite responsive, but unfortunately the zoom is not as good as one would hope. So that's a look at the Echo Learning app. Finally, we're going to take a look at the Folan's eBooks. And we'll take a look at the Essential Science. And it remembers the page we were last on. Sorry, I hit the wrong back button there. Again, flicking left and right, we get to scroll through the pages. And we zoom in and out on this. Again, we don't get a great zoom on it. It's a feature of these apps that you don't get a great zoom, so we'll triple tap on screen, and it is a little bit more clear than the previous apps we've had a look at when you zoom in. So not as blurry, but still not 100% clear either. We'll zoom back out. Again, we have this plus icon up in the top right. We'll tap on that and it reveals features very similar to the other ones, where you can do animation on the screen. You can pick your color. So if you want to circle stuff, that's then on your page. Actually, I think I put that a little bit off the page. We'll try that again. Okay. Remove those. So the next person viewing the book doesn't have scribbles all over it. Again, you can pop notes in. And you can create your bookmarks. We've created 2 bookmarks before. And like the other apps, you have a double page mode or a single page mode. You can also go to your page number. So if teacher tells you go to page 55, you go and it brings you straight to that page. So they are the features of the publisher apps and how they operate. So that's a quick overview of eBooks from an educational point of view. And if you require any assistance with setting up apps or getting access to eBooks, don't hesitate to get in contact with the Ncbi, who would only be too glad to help. In part 2, we'll take a look at the eBooks from a leisure reading point of view and some of the offerings available there. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Daniel. That's great. Okay, you might just unmute yourself there, as we have a few questions actually come in there that we might take at this point, if that's okay. So just an email from Jason. What is Epub, please?
Epub is a newer format that's out there for ebooks. The beauty of these is they're a little bit smaller in file size when compared to the Daisy book, and you know, for distributing books, it's a lot easier. Yeah, that's the main focus of them. They kind of handle the graphics a bit better as well, as opposed to Daisy books. Main difference.
Okay. An email from Sarah, who can't make today's event. Just can she download Daisy books onto more than one device?
You can indeed, yeah. The Daisy books, they'll work on laptop, iPad, and an Android device, so you have plenty of options there. Can you hear me?
I can, yeah. Sorry, I just needed to unmute myself there again. Okay, just another question there just came in from Colette, who's helping out there from a parent. Do the ebooks have any audio feedback?
The Daisy books have the audio built in. The ebooks, it depends on the app in question. The likes of those educational publisher ones, some of them do have a read aloud option on it. Other way you can do it is if the app allows you to highlight the text, you can you can highlight the text and have it speak back to you, or you can do the speak screen gesture on the iPad as well.
Okay, perfect. Actually, can I just ask as well, I was watching that there, and I could see you doing the demonstration of putting in the notes. So you've got your little notes thing and so on. And I suppose what I noticed was that the notes, was really tiny then when you kind of go back in and access it. If you use the zoom function, does that get bigger as well?
It will get a little bit bigger, but again, the limitations on the publisher apps means that it'll only zoom in so far, and then if you need to zoom in further, you're going to have to rely on let's say your iPad's zoom, where it was triple tapping on the screen there. And unfortunately, what happens then, like the text does get blurry, and also the navigation to get around the screen is a little bit more, difficult, because you're trying to train where you are on the sentence and go over and back and come back around to the next sentence. So it is a little bit awkward to use.
Okay, so in terms of kind of time efficiency, it might just take a bit longer than reading it back. Okay.
Yeah, and that's where the Daisy book is probably better in that sense, because as we increase the text size on a Daisy book, the words kind of flow around or wrap around, and they fall into the next line. So instead of having to go left and right across the screen, all you're doing is going up and down. So from that point of view, they are better, to the Daisy format.
And that's actually, that brings us on to a question there from Jenny, which you've kind of answered there, was so in Zoom on eBooks, it doesn't word wrap, ? So yeah, it doesn't, yeah.
No, it doesn't. Now, some apps, it's down to the publisher app. Some apps will do word wrap, but the ones we went through there don't. Okay,
thanks for that, Daniel. Just Mary Burns just put in there an email from Sarah. Are all books available in apps, and is any special software needed? What is the cost to this, and will the apps work on a tablet?
Okay, so when it comes to getting the eBooks, say when you go into a shop and you buy the physical book, they'll give you a code inside which allows you to download the ebook version, and that's free. And the app you will be using is made by the book publisher. So let's say just like Folens there, you have to download the Folens app, pop in the code there, and you get to download your book. So if you're, like most students are going to have books from many publishers, so if you're going entirely the ebook route from the publishers, you're going to need several different apps to open the books according to who has manufactured the book in the first place. And so when you buy the physical book, you'll have that, but you'll also have this code to take to your device to download it there. But it does mean you have a few apps to open up, and you got to remember which publisher published which book when you're going into class.
Right. Okay, I get you. Yeah. So there's a little bit of working out to do on that. And then will apps work on the tablet? The answer is yes to that.
Will indeed, yeah. So they have them made for Windows, which is on your laptop. They have them made for Android, which is your smart tablet, or your iPad, which is for Apple. And also, if you have a visual impairment and you're finding it difficult to get the books, you can contact the publishers directly, who will send you a form to fill out, and they may make the book that you want available to you as well.
Okay, that's good to know as well. Yeah. All right, a question here from Jenny. I'm hoping to start college this September. What is the best way to get access to books in different formats?
Third level college, generally your disability officer in the college will assist you there to get access to the books. If there's a book that they don't have in the college library, you can contact the Ncbi library, who will who'll endeavour their best to get the book for you as well. So you have two main options there to try. But first of all, try with the college themselves, and if that turns out to be not successful, do get in contact with the Ncbi, because I know the Ncbi library have access to tons and tons of books.
Okay, so there's an extensive kind of list there for third level is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah, there is.
And just a question from Margaret there: if notes are made, does anybody else see them?
Not unless you're sharing the iPad with somebody or the tablet. It'll be just on your book. It won't turn up on all. If the whole class is using the same ebooks, no, it'll only be unique to your device. Okay. I hope I'm following what they're asked there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay, Colette, that's probably a question come in there from a parent. Is that Bookshare you're talking about? I've heard of it but not used it.
Yeah, that's the bookshare from the NCBI library, bookshare.ie. We're actually going to cover that in part 2 because even though they do have education books for third level, they do have quite a range of leisure reading books as well. So that's coming up in the second part.
Perfect. Okay, so we might move on to the second part then, Daniel, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, that's no problem. Just bear with me a moment.
Thanks a million. And you can keep your questions coming in there, guys, as well. So this is obviously going to be recorded, so we'll probably put this up as well on our YouTube site, so that I know we had a lot of inquiries from people and things beforehand that weren't able to make the session. So we'll have that link up there on YouTube as well. Okay, Daniel, I see that it might be running, but there's no sound on that. Are you working on that at the minute?
Sorry about that. Just give me one more try.
So welcome to part 2 of the overview and accessing ebooks. In part 1 we had a look at the educational ebooks, but in part 2 we are going to cover free ebooks and e-audiobooks that are available. We're going to look at a library service such as BorrowBox. We'll also take a quick peek at some of the online ebook stores and some of the subscription services that are available. So now we're going to take a look at some of the free ebooks and e-audiobooks that are available. And if you visit bookshare.ie on the web, you can scroll to the bottom of the page and choose the sign up button, and filling in some details and submitting them, you can get a Bookshare account that is usually set up within 24 to 48 hours, where you can log in to the Dolphin Easy Reader app, and you have access to tons of free ebooks. So I'm just going to load Dolphin Easy Reader app here, and I'm going to go to my Bookshare library, and here we are logged in, and we can search for, let's say, Harry Potter. And we'll do a search, and we'll pick the first result that comes up, and it gives us a little overview of the book, and we can tap on download. And depending on the speed of your internet, the book should download quite quickly. Then you can open it, and it loads up the book for you. Now you can use your pinch zoom to bring up the size of the text on the screen. Again, you have your play button at the bottom.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. J.K. Rowling. Notice: this accessible media has been made available to people with bona fide disabilities that affect reading.
That's a little starting point on the book, just a little foreword and copyright notice. And you can change the appearance of the book, so you can change the background to black, text color to white, and increase or decrease the text size, and you can change the font. So all different options for you to explore in the Easy Reader app. So this is the text version of this book, Harry Potter. Another service that's available is the Ncbi Overdrive, which is a premium book service for a small yearly fee. Again, you get a username and password, and you can get logged in. And again, we'll do a search for Harry Potter. And we'll take the same again, and we'll borrow that. And we go to the checkout, tap on the book, and then we download it. So, just about there. And the download has completed. So, we'll tap on the book, and we'll go to open. And this time, we don't get any text on the screen, we just get a cover of the book, and we press play.
Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling. Read by Stephen Fry. An unabridged performance brought to you by Pottermore from J.K. Rowling.
Chapter 1. Owl Post. Harry Potter was a highly unusual boy in many ways. For one thing, he hated the summer holidays more than any other time of year.
So that's a little sample of Stephen Fry reading the Harry Potter titled The Prisoner of Azkaban. So there are also 2 free libraries included in the Dolphin Easy Reader app. And both of these libraries cater for books that have mostly gone out of copyright. So we go into the Epub books, and we have this little book already downloaded. It was called The Night Before Christmas. And we open that book again. We have the text on the screen, and we can scroll down to the next few pages. So we can press play.
Introduction. Amid the many celebrations last Christmas Eve, in various places by different persons, there was one in New York City, not like any other anywhere.
So as you can see, the audio is not as good as the one from Overdrive. And again, Project Gutenberg has all different languages available. So you have English books here, and plenty of books, again, the ones that have gone out of copyright. Plenty to choose from there also. So that's a look at the Dolphin Easy Reader app and how to access some free ebooks. Next up, we are going to take a look at the borrowbox app. The borrowbox app is available from your local county council. You can download the app, and using your library card number and the PIN, which you can get from your local county council, you can then punch that into the app and you are into the library. This works kind of similar to the Ncbi Overdrive, where you can borrow a book for up to 21 days. Again, there's ebooks and audiobooks available here. So we'll try some of these here. We'll see what we can get in audiobooks first. We have a button at the bottom, and we go for the children's section, and we'll get the sheep pig here. We'll tap on borrow now, and we confirm the loan. So it asks us, do we want to get notifications? I just say no to that, and after borrowing the book, we can listen to it now. And brings up the e-audiobook here, and we press play.
Belinda presents this unabridged recording of The Sheep Pig, written by Dick King-Smith and read by Stephen Thorne.
So, introduction there.
Chapter 1. Guess my weight. What's that noise? Said Mrs. Hoggett, sticking her comfortable round red face out of the kitchen window.
So that's just a little sample of an e-audiobook from the borrowbox service. We'll go back in and we'll take a peek at some of the ebooks, and we'll have a look at the way these work. So the boy who grew dragons, we'll confirm the loan on that, and we'll go to read now. And the book comes up very like the printed version. You get your lovely colourful cover. We just let the book load up, and there we go. And you simply swipe on the screen, and the pages flick over just like they would in a real book. Again, you can use the pinch zoom, and it will bring up the size of the text on screen. And you have the option then to choose a chapter. You can configure the text size. You can have single page view. You can have text narrow on the page or wide on the page. You can increase the text size, that's about as big as it gets there. You can change the font, and you can change the theme. And you also have night mode there as well. So it's quite customizable, just like the Dolphin Easy Reader that we were looking at earlier. So that's a look at the borrowbox app. Again, it's free and from your local county library service. Now, we're going to have a look at some of the online ebook stores. There are tons out there, such as Amazon's Kindle and Audible services, Apple's Books services, and Google's Playbooks services. So first up, we'll take a look at a general ebook store such as Apple's eBooks. Bring this up here and you can explore the bookstore or explore their audiobooks. First of all, we'll take a look at their ebook store, and you can browse the different sections. You can get special offers and free books in here too. So we'll try and locate a free book just for so here are lots of free books. Generally, a lot of them are adult themes. We'll go here. These are the popular ones that are out there at the moment. And we'll just say for an iPhone user guide, we'll get that one. And we'll get that. It takes a few moments for them to download. And depending on the speed of your internet. So I'll take a little sample of that at the moment. get our ebook, bring us through all the new features that are in the latest iPhone version that's out there. We can tap on the text size here, make the text on the page bigger. We can change it to one-page view. Again, we can change the background and change the fonts. And make the text much bigger. So, quite similar to the borrowbox, and that is quite customizable. So that's the ebooks on that. We'll try some audiobooks from Apple. Let's see, can we get some free ones? And generally, it might be hard to find free ones, but we'll take some kids' books here and we'll take a look. See, can we do a preview? Take this little one here. Do a preview.
Said Kipper, and went outside. Outside, there were two ducks.
So again, the Apple audiobooks are good quality, and you can browse the store. Some free books in the ebook side, but audiobooks generally have to be paid for there. Next, we're going to take a look at the Google service. So this is called Google Play Books, and we brought down a book here earlier, and it's just loading it up here. Again, we can bring up the pages, and if we tap here, we have our options to change the background colors. Get your nightlight option as well, which reduces the blue tone. Nice feature that Google have added into this app. You have your bookmarks, your title of contents. You can put notes in as well. That's the Google Play Books. They also do audiobooks. And let's see, can we get a little play sample on this, just to give you an idea of the quality.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Read by Stephen Fry. An unabridged performance brought to you by Pottermore from J.K. Rowling.
So it's the very same quality as the Ncbi Overdrive. Quite good quality indeed. So that's the Google Play Books. Next up we have the Amazon Kindle, which are ebooks. And we had this book already downloaded. It's called The Debt Collector. And we can tap on the page. I have the text already brought up quite large. You get this slider here, and you can make the text whatever size you want. You can see it changing on the right hand side of the screen. You can change the font. So to have a selection of fonts there that you can pick. Choosing the layout, again, you can choose the background colors. And you can adjust the spacing and the alignment, the margins and the column and the brightness. And plenty more options in there. You can do an animation on the page turn. So just like that. So that's the Kindle ebooks. Again, they have their library. This is a subscription service. You pay them, I think it's about €8 a month, and you can have unlimited access to ebooks. The Audible service then, which is also from Amazon. Plenty of books here. Again, probably the same titles that you will come across in Apple and on Google's Play Books. We'll go to Discover at the bottom, and we can again download the title. Let's try this one here, Sherlock Holmes. We'll do a sample of it.
Falstaff, and Pickwick as an instantly recognizable literary hero, where other literary characters had been discerned mistily through their creator.
So that's a sample of the Audible. So there are quite a number of services out there offering ebooks and audiobooks. We have just touched on some of them here. And again, if you want to get any help and support, please do contact your local NCBI trainer.
Okay, so thanks for that second video there, Daniel. I think you covered plenty in that. I'm not sure whether you can come back and join us in the chat now. Yep, you're there. Okay, so we just have another few questions here just come in as well. Okay, let me see here, just not repeating myself. Okay, so just an email in from John. I love the voice in Overdrive. Can you get large print with this voice?
You see, with the Overdrive, all you're going to get is a picture of the cover on screen. The book has been entirely read by a person, and what you're getting is actually the person's recording. Just sent to you. That's not, it's not containing text at all. So all the Overdrive is going to give you is, and same with nearly all audiobooks, they're just going to pop up an image of the front cover of the book. And then the person who has read the book from cover to cover is just played as an audio track. That is all.
Okay, so pretty much if you're looking for audiobooks, that's where you're going to Overdrive for those type of books. If you wanted, I suppose I'm just thinking there, if you wanted the option of, being able to read but also listen to them, what advice would you give?
Yeah, you're going to be looking at the Dolphin Easy Reader there, and they have that read aloud, but unfortunately you're relying on the iPad's reader or the Android's reader or the Windows reader. It defaults back to the computer, so you're going to get a computer voice reading back any of the books that have the text, which you're not going to get that lovely audio feedback like Stephen Fry reading the books there from Harry Potter and Sherlock Holmes. You're just not going to get that with a book that contains the text.
Okay, so that's a big advantage, I suppose, if you're thinking about trying to, create an interest, for younger people in listening to audiobooks. I mean, especially I'm thinking of, children where, they might be Braille users, or they might have an eye condition that, kind of where they have visual fatigue every now and then. And so it's nice to be able to switch over there. To the
there's nothing stopping you, I suppose, from, getting both versions. And just as you read along, I know it'll probably be hard to track and say, well, if I read on screen for 20 minutes and then I listen for half an hour, you just got to find that point in the audiobook where along have I finished reading the text version, and then jump into that section, hitting play. Might be a little bit tricky just to figure that bit out, but I think that's the only compromise you could get there.
Yeah, but it's a good backup anyway, I think. Yeah. Okay, a question here from Enda. Is it possible to transfer ebooks from borrowbox to a Kobo? Okay, so Kobo is like a Kindle, am I right?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, unfortunately not. Because in many of the subscription services or the library services, the books are borrowed to you. With a subscription service, the books are borrowed for the amount of time that you have your subscription with them. So if you cancel your account after a year, your books are gone back. with the Overdrive and the borrowbox, you're getting up to 21 days, and the books are then physically removed off the device, so you got to read them in that length of time. And it's also, I'll just say, it's good practice for anybody out there. Let's say if you borrow a book from borrowbox or from Overdrive, if you're finished with it, return it so somebody else can get to download that and read it. So that's a good little tip, just to be, you know, socially aware, I suppose. But no, there's no way of transferring out of borrowbox. And the bad news for PC and laptop users is borrowbox is only coming on your Android or Apple devices, so you can't even get it on a laptop or PC at the moment.
Okay, so right, okay. And then just thinking about that, you know, I suppose transferring the ebooks there, like you mentioned, okay, if you've got a time limit of the 21 days. Okay, so I'm like, I suppose my understanding of this is it's almost like a physical book then, in a sense, if somebody else is waiting for the download. Yeah, they are.
Yeah. When you go into borrowbox, many of the new titles, you know, newly released stuff, you're going to find that, you know, if you try and borrow it, it'll say, oh, you can only reserve this, and you might find, oh, you're reserving it for the end of August because there's other people in the queue before you who want that book. So it does handle kind of a queue service. So, and it'll give you an idea when the book will come back. Now, obviously, if there's 4 or 5 people ahead of you and they return the book quicker than the standard 21 days to read it, you might actually get it a bit sooner. But that's you know, you are relying on the goodwill of other people to read a book quick and get it back to the service so the next person can use it. Okay, so it's just similar to your library service, really. And I suppose at the end of the day, it's what you're, you know, you have a free service. So I guess they're the kind of you know, the down points on that. Okay, an email from Pauline there. You refer to e-audio. Does this mean voice and no print? That's right. Just voice only. There's no print with e-audiobooks. So all that'll happen is you'll get the picture of the cover on the screen, and you have a big play button and a pause button, and you usually have other controls, maybe to forward on, you know, to the next section or chapter of the book. You can jump through like tracks on a CD, I suppose. Okay, get you. Yeah. Okay, Colette's just got a question from a parent there. Do I have to have the library account for borrowbox, or does my child have their own? The child can pop in their own library card number, particularly if you have a house full of avid readers, and you know, like if mum likes to read books and the kids like to read books, with the borrowbox you can have up to 5 books out at a time. You know, so if you all have your own devices, pop in you know, the borrowbox on each device, and punch in your own library card number, so that'll work. Yeah, no problem at all doing that. Perfect. Now, I think maybe I missed this question here earlier on from Margaret. I have 2 children and books in apps may work for them. I don't want them to see each other's notes, but they have the use of the same laptop. Advice, please. Okay, so if you're using the same laptop, probably the best thing to do there is set up a complete profile, Windows profile for the second child. So you're going into your control panel, you're going to user accounts and just adding another user for Windows. So when let's say Mary and Jack are sharing the laptop, when you turn on the laptop, Mary clicks on her name, goes in, and she'll have her own app with her own books in it. Then she signs out, and Jack can click on his name then, and his app will have his books there. Okay, so it's possible to do that without each other looking, and that's really useful. Yeah. I suppose not every family has, you know, or not every child in the family has access to their own device, so it's nice that you can have that facility. Just going back to the earlier one there about the Kobo reader, I think for that user there, the best thing to do is go to the bookshare.ie. Rather than using borrowbox, if they're interested in transferring the books from the books from Bookshare across, they can be loaded onto the Kobo or the Kindle either. Okay, not borrowbox, but no. But Bookshare. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And just Mary Byrne is just sharing an email there from John. So much information to take in. It's great, and thanks very much. Can you please share information with me? Yeah, absolutely. We can, you know, what we'll do is we'll put this recorded event
up on YouTube, so it'll be here for people to, you know, to access whenever they can. So okay.
Just to add there, Caroline, like I've only gone through a couple of apps there. There are tons and tons and tons of stuff out there. I could, you know, if I was to go through them all, I'd be here a week. So I've just probably picked a sample of the most popular ones that are out there. There's loads more out there as well.
Yeah, and needless to say as well that I suppose part of your work and the rest of the assistive technology team supporting the children and young persons team would be to help and support parents and young students kind of in getting those, you know, the access to those books as well in whatever, you know, tech support they need. So, yeah. So I suppose just to remind people there as well that they can make contact with us on 1850 33 43 53. And look for tech support if they press 1 to get into children and young person services, and then we can get you in touch with assistive technology support. So, okay, thanks very much for that, Daniel. That's fantastic. Great work. And to everybody that was able to join us today. And we tune in again for our next session. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.